Well, we're in the heart of summer. We're also learning more about the numbers from pheasant and waterfowl surveys. And joining us with the details this morning is biologist Doug Lear with the North Dakota Game and Fish Department. Thanks for coming in.
You're welcome.
Now, first, let's talk a little bit about how big this survey is. And it happened a while ago, but you just had to crunch the numbers.
Right. These are spring surveys, upland game surveys, waterfowl surveys, and they're basically done to kind of establish on waterfowl the spring breeding index. And then in the upland game, it kind of gives you a sense of how many birds made it through the winter. So yeah, you're absolutely right. The numbers are out now, but they were actually compiled back in April and into May, Lisa.
What are we looking at? Good news this year?
Well, not necessarily. I mean, the reality is it's not a real shock, not a real surprise after the winter that we had with the snow and the cold, the impact that it had on pheasants, and then the dry conditions we had this spring for our waterfowl. So the pheasant numbers are down about 15% from last year. Some of our core areas, not quite as bad, 5 to 10% in the southwest and south central. And then in terms of waterfowl, also down about 15%. But if you look at the big picture, our waterfowl numbers are still well above the historical averages going back about the last 50 to 60 years. So, you know, you can kind of get maybe a little bit frustrated by the numbers, but that's just the facts that we're dealing with right now, Lisa.
And can you expand on your contributing this to the winter?
Right. These are the spring numbers. This doesn't tell you what kind of population we have from the hatch, from the pheasant hatch, from the ducks and the geese that are hatching out. We're actually compiled those numbers right now. So that'll give us later on this summer a snapshot of what hunters can find. This is basically just kind of a post-winter view in the middle of summer. So we're looking at it in the middle of summer, but it's really the numbers from what came through the winter and what was nesting here this spring.
Okay, well, we're always hopeful, and maybe we'll come around with some better numbers, because you look at those numbers and it's kind of a downer.
And you're absolutely right. They are kind of disappointing numbers, but hopefully maybe we can have some better summer production. We'll have some better news coming up this fall, so we cross our fingers, Lisa.
And we'll have you come back in with those numbers as well.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Doug.
You're welcome.